Hello, Internet. Your friendly neighborhood gremlin here, and today we're giving Callie a place to hang laundry. Why that's what she wants for her vacation home, I don't know, but it is what we're gonna give her, so hopefully she likes it. Okay, so just two sort of announcements. That sounds weird. It's not a thing I've ever done at the beginning of my videos, but A, this video is probably gonna be late, so I am trying to do this voiceover in as few takes as possible, so if it's a little bit weirder than usual, I'm sorry. I want to get it up by 4, and it's probably not gonna happen. But we are doing our best. And the second announcement is that I finished our Discord server, so that's pretty exciting. I mean, maybe if anyone joins, I can't promise that any of you want to join, but if you do, it's there. Even if you just want to join so you can vote in my little polls, that would be really helpful for me, but I care, and so this is a thing that we are doing. Again, you don't feel like you have to join, and also, if you want to, there's a bunch of chat channels and stuff. I guess one of the reasons I started doing this was maybe I could meet people who like the same things as I do. And again, don't feel like you have to. I'm socially awkward, and so I'm bad at this stuff. But I'd be very grateful if you wanted to join, even just to vote in polls, because again, that'd be real helpful. But whatever, I mean, just know it's there if you want it. Anyway, we should probably talk about the build now. And I think it turned out pretty well. I mean, upstairs gets a little bit chaotic, and outside is very simple. What I sort of conceptualized when she said that I want a place to hang laundry, and I said I can make a basement, and I think that'll be really fun. And I think it's pretty great. I don't know, you can let me know how you feel about it, but I quite like it. I probably should put a gaming console under the TV. I suppose it's just another one of those things that in my head fit in the basement, like the family gaming space, but I just forget that they exist every time. I don't think I've ever put a gaming console in an Animal Crossing build. And even though I scrolled past it and I acknowledged it while I was doing it, my brain just didn't conceptualize the idea as an idea. So, I don't know, just imagine there's a game console there. Or don't. But I do really enjoy building these sort of weirdly chaotic things, like basements or places where you wouldn't expect it to be decorated, right? One of my other favorite builds I've done is the Astrid one, which is just a garage space where she also can rehearse her band. And I just think it's so good looking in the end. I'm very proud of it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Or don't. Are you all about the chaos builds too? Or are you sort of the kind of person who likes things to be in a certain place? Or just look like it's decorated like someone might decorate a home that people were looking at? This is more functional rather than decorative, I guess. Obviously in Animal Crossing, all of these items are just decorative, but if this were actually your basement or whatever, you'd have a lot of stuff. Or maybe you're the kind of person who doesn't keep a lot of stuff. I like stuff. Maybe that makes it sound like I'm going to become a hoarder, but I don't mean it like that, just having to keep everything because it exists. We don't have to keep things that we don't want anymore. I just personally feel more comfortable in a cluttered space. But that's kind of all I had to say about the space. Trying to do this on a schedule is hard because I can't just sit and stare at things until I think of something to say. Again, we're trying to do it fast. Maybe that's a bad idea. It probably is a bad idea because I'm going to leave in things I would usually cut out. For example, this conversation that we are having now. It's not something I would put in the build. Maybe that's going to make this kind of unwatchable for other people. So I'm sorry. It's also going to be gappier than usual because I'm not going to cut out all of my strange weird pauses, just the ones that sort of feel very out of place when I listen back to it. Because we are trying to do fewer takes, and also that means that sometimes the audio might spike. It doesn't sound like it spikes in my ears, but visually it looks like it spikes. So those are things that I usually just re-record, but I don't actually have the time to sit here and do 6 takes of every clip. Sorry, I really shouldn't be spending all of our time complaining about things that are entirely in my control. We can talk about why it happened, but that would just be a long explanation that no one really cares about. So it doesn't matter. Here we are. And we are going to try and get it done on time. It's taken me a whole hour to do 4 minutes. So, I mean, while not super great, it is better than usual. Honestly, doing these voiceovers seems to take forever. I do not know how I did it when I first did these, because somehow I was just able to do it. And we just talked and it was fine. It didn't take me this long, especially because the videos were longer. It would have taken me all day. So I don't know what it is that made this harder or longer, but we've headed upstairs. So here we get to a place that in the end looks okay. It's not bad, but it's also not great, I don't think. Somehow my head decided that the color scheme should be orangey, yellow, and purple. I don't know how that happened or why that happened, but it is a thing that did happen, and that's sort of what we go for. Maybe not a good idea. I don't know. Again, I think it looks alright in the end, but if you're looking at the build and asking, why the fuck did you think that was a good idea? I don't blame you, because it is a little bit weird, especially because now we're going to try and put an accent wall in, because if it wasn't busy enough with all these weird colors that only sort of tangentially go together, we now have an accent wall. And it's not even the color I want it to be, but it was the closest one I had. I mean, she doesn't even get a kitchen. I tried for a minute, but just like with the length of the space, and I wasn't making it bigger. I didn't have time to make it bigger. Here we are trying to fit a kitchen in, and it's not gonna work. But that doesn't mean she gets a bathroom, which is pretty rare in these builds, mostly just because I hate a majority of the bathroom items in this game, and we struggle. Also, I just want to be able to hang a mirror on the wall. You just have to use those like weird unit things. And I know from spending too much time watching YouTube from people in Japan that like when you're renovating and stuff, things come in units like that. Like you have to buy units, not like just individual items. So that's probably why it's like that. Because, I mean, this game was designed by people in Japan, but they don't look that dumb in real life. They aren't like super noticeably, obviously, like a unit that you've just plopped there, because you have control over what the rest of the space looks like and how you make it look like a thing. I don't have that option. It just sits there, and it sits so far out of the wall, it looks really awkward, and I hate it. But, here we are. We're just tiling the bathroom floor there because the shower was too big to fit, and so we've ended up with like a wet room, which, I mean, in real life would be like sealed off, but this is Animal Crossing, so it doesn't matter. And also it was the only way she was getting a shower, and I wanted one. And I moved our sort of closet space, which was originally what was supposed to go back there, into the front corner. You may have noticed I've been trying to put in a walk-in wardrobe in some of my builds, and it's not going well, which is a shame because I've made some really good walk-in wardrobes, or at least I thought they were good at the time. It's been a while since I've looked at them. Maybe they're bad, and that's why this isn't going well. It's because all of them were bad. Anyway, that's not super important, just a thing that maybe you wanted to know, or probably didn't want to know. But we've moved on to our sort of fourth corner of the room there. Just a little nightstand and a plant. Maybe that's why I don't like this build as much. It's because it has so few things in it. That is entirely possible. But also could not be what the problem is at all. I have no idea. I don't know exactly what it is about this that I don't like. Obviously, if I knew what the problem was, I would have fixed it. And sadly, that's just not the case. And again, it's not bad. It just isn't quite right. If you have an idea what it is the problem with this room is and why it's not quite right, do let me know in the comments down below. I mean, obviously you'd just be guessing because like you're not in my brain, but my brain doesn't tell me because you don't exist in my brain. But also I'm just guessing about what the problem is because my brain is very uncooperative. It's very good at saying you do or don't like this thing. It's not very good at saying why. But we're in the final stretch here. Now we are outside, which is exciting. So moving the house to this side of the river, I think, is my questionable decision of the day because I don't know that I made any inside, which is also maybe why I don't like it. But we don't go into the build with planned questionable decisions. They just happen. I mean, we don't really go into these builds with a plan at all. Today, obviously, I knew I wanted a basement, but the builds go the way they go, and it just happens. It's not like a thing that exists in my brain first, because I don't have visuals in my brain. Or maybe that's just how everybody does it. I don't know, but the house looks really cute in that purple, don't you think? I do really like the purple. I remembered just now that the outside is also purple and orange themed. I don't even think we were thinking we should make the outside match the inside, because like the basement space doesn't have a color scheme at all. Because again, it was just going for like casual, chaotic. I don't know how this happened. Maybe my brain is just really into purple and orange today. I do spend a lot of the time feeling like my brain and I are separate entities. Like it has its own ideas of what it wants. And also it gets to win because it is the brain and it sort of controls the things. I don't know, it's weird. Hard to explain. Let me know down below if this is a thing that also happens to you. And who knows, maybe this is just how everybody lives their lives. How do you and your brain get along? Or do you just like sort of exist as the same thing as your brain and it's not different? Which I mean is like probably the case. But I don't know. It's not something I've ever heard someone else talk about. And maybe it's just that it's so normal that people just think it's normal and don't think it's worth talking about. Sorry, that was a very long ramble. Anyway, we have managed to reach the end of the build. And if you just sat through listening to me talk about that, I mean, you have to like me, at least a little bit. So do like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye!